They told me I was lucky, but luck doesn't keep you healthy for 40 years. Habits do. At 92, I still drive. I still walk without pain. I haven't had so much as a cold in 4 decades. And while some people smile and say, "You must have good genes," I quietly shake my head. Because what they don't see is what I do every single day. The truth is, aging doesn't suddenly steal your health. It wears it down slowly in the daily choices we stop making. The skipped movement, the shallow breath, the moment we stop believing our bodies can still improve. But just as strength fades through neglect, it can return through consistency. That's what I've learned, not in a lab or from a textbook, but from living. Doctors once told me to slow down. I chose to tune in. And over time, I discovered 5 simple exercises that became the foundation of my vitality. Not intense workouts, but intentional movements that restored strength, focus, balance, and calm. They don't require a gym or youth, just commitment. And if you're willing to give your body the same quiet care that you once gave your children, these habits can change everything. So let me show you the 5 exercises that have kept me strong, sharp, and sickness-free. Not just in theory, but in the reality of a life well lived. Before we dive in, if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you hit that button and turn on the bell so you never miss another health tip made just for you. If you enjoy this video, type 1 in the comments. If not, type 0 to let me know how I can make better content for you. 1. The Spine Awakening Ritual, a 3-minute morning reset that reverses age from the inside out. Most people think illness comes from germs or genetics, but after living 92 years with no major illness and not even a cold in 4 decades, I can tell you, true health begins the moment you wake up. That's why before my feet ever touch the ground, I give my body one essential message: you're alive and I need you. Every morning, I lie flat on my back, eyes still closed, and begin a short sequence that changed everything. I slowly turn my head left and right, not to stretch, but to gently activate the nerves along my neck. I bring my knees toward my chest, softly hug them, and rock from side to side like I'm cradling my own spine. Then I release and let my back settle into the mattress, more aligned, more awake. No rush, no harsh movements, just attention. This may sound simple, even trivial, but this 3-minute ritual rewires how your nervous system responds to the day. Most seniors leap from bed with tight backs, stiff joints, and sleepy blood. They push themselves upright with sheer force, triggering sudden spikes in blood pressure and disorientation. That's why so many falls and strokes happen in the first hour of waking. But when you wake your spine with care, you're giving your entire body time to remember how to live well. You see, the spine is more than just a column of bones. It is the central highway for every nerve in your body. If it's sluggish, everything is. Your balance, your digestion, your thinking, it's all downstream of that morning moment. And the older we get, the more our spine craves rhythm over force, attention over speed. That's why I've done this gentle sequence every day since I was 52. It's not just a habit, it's a ceremony. Science backs this up too. A study published in the Journal of Geriatric Physical Therapy found that seniors who engage in morning spinal mobilization report fewer falls, improved posture, and greater mental clarity throughout the day. But numbers aside, what matters is how it makes you feel. Lighter, looser, more connected to your own body. I used to wake up stiff, dreading the moment my feet hit the floor. Now I welcome the day with calm presence. This ritual doesn't require strength or flexibility. It requires intention. And in a world that rushes us toward productivity, choosing presence is the first act of healing. The truth is, you can't build a strong body on a weak foundation, and your spine is the foundation of your every move, your every breath, your every sense of aliveness. So why not start the day by honoring it? Now, if you're wondering what comes after this sacred 3-minute ritual, what else I do to stay sharp, strong, and sickness free well into my 90s, let me show you something even more surprising. It involves nothing more than a kitchen chair, and it might just save you from your next fall. If you're still watching and finding these insights helpful, please comment number 1 below to let me know you're with me. Now let's move on to point number 2. 2. The magic chair routine. A daily practice that brought my strength back without leaving the kitchen. I used to believe strength came from effort, from sweat, from pushing hard. But after 60, something shifted. My body no longer responded to intensity, it responded to consistency. And nowhere did I discover this more clearly than with a simple object that most of us overlook: kitchen chair. You see, as I aged, I noticed something that frightened me. I was losing my ability to rise, not just from the floor, but from my own life. Standing up from a chair took effort. Reaching for a cabinet made my shoulder twinge. My thighs, once steady and strong, began to tremble. It wasn't illness, it was erosion. Tiny bits of strength slipping away, unnoticed. Until one day, I nearly fell, trying to reach for a pan. That moment was a wake-up call. So I began a small ritual each morning. I would sit in my kitchen chair, plant my feet firmly on the floor, and slowly lift one leg at a time, holding it up for a few seconds before lowering it down. At first, even lifting my leg a few inches felt like effort, but I kept going. I wasn't trying to train like an athlete. I was trying to reclaim the dignity of movement. After the legs, I moved to the arms. I'd raise them straight out in front of me slowly and with control, feeling the muscles reawaken from sleep. 10 slow lifts, no weights, no rush, just breath, presence, and movement. It took less than 5 minutes, but within weeks I noticed changes that no medication had ever delivered. I could get out of bed faster. I stopped reaching for walls to balance. I could carry groceries again, but more importantly, I felt capable. There is something deeply spiritual about being able to trust your own body again. That chair became more than a seat. It became a training ground for independence. Doctors call this functional movement, the kind that mimics everyday tasks and keeps the nervous system sharp. In fact, a study published in the Journals of Gerontology showed that seniors who perform regular seated leg and arm raises dramatically improve lower limb strength and reduce fall risk by over 30%. But I don't need a study to tell me that. I live it. The beauty of this routine is that anyone can do it, whether you're recovering from surgery, living with arthritis, or just starting to feel the weight of years. You don't need to stand. You don't need fancy gear. You need a chair, a little breath, and the willingness to begin. And here's the thing. Our bodies don't need punishment. They need reminders. Every lift from that chair is a whisper to the muscles. You still have purpose. Every slow raise of the arms is a signal to the brain. We are still in motion. We are still alive. Now, if you think that a kitchen chair could restore your strength, wait until you learn what your own breath can do. It's the next thing I discovered, and it's the most powerful medicine I've never had to buy. 3. The 4-7-8 breath. A simple rhythm that strengthens the immune system and calms the storm within. It took me decades to learn that the breath, not medicine, not muscle, was the most powerful healer I had. Not long ago, if someone had told me that breathing in a certain rhythm could reduce my blood pressure, sharpen my focus, and help me avoid illness altogether, I would have smiled politely and forgotten about it. But life has a way of humbling us. I was 68 when I first began experiencing signs of deep fatigue. Not tiredness from work or lack of sleep, but something heavier. A fog that settled in my mind. My digestion slowed. I became irritable. I wasn't sick, but I wasn't well either. My doctor told me nothing was wrong. My labs were normal. But I knew, in my gut, something was off. That's when I stumbled across a breathing technique, a pattern known as 478. It sounded too simple. Breathe in for 4 seconds, hold for 7, breathe out for 8. That's it. No supplements, no cost, no effort. But I tried it anyway, sitting quietly on the edge of my bed. I closed my eyes. I inhaled deeply through my nose for 4 counts. I held the breath gently for 7. Then slowly, I exhaled for 8 seconds through pursed lips, like a sigh I had been holding for years. And then I did it again and again. Something remarkable happened. Within minutes, my heart slowed, my chest softened, my shoulders, always slightly tense without me noticing, dropped. And most surprising of all, my thoughts quieted. For the first time in weeks, I felt still. And that stillness became my medicine. I made the 478 breath part of my daily routine. 4 rounds in the morning, 4 at night. I began sleeping better. My digestion improved. My immune system, which had always been decent, became almost untouchable. Even during harsh flu seasons or long winters, I stayed strong. My body, I realized, wasn't just surviving, it was healing from the inside out. Science explains this clearly. The 478 breath activates the parasympathetic nervous system, the part responsible for rest, digestion, and repair. It tells your body, you are safe now. And when your body feels safe, it shifts from defense to growth. It lowers cortisol. It balances hormones. It increases oxygen to vital organs. It becomes resilient, not reactive. But this is more than biology. For me, the breath became a bridge between my thoughts and my health, between the stress of aging and the grace of presence. Every exhale was like letting go of fear. Every inhale was a quiet affirmation. I'm still here and I'm still strong. Breathing isn't just automatic. It's intentional. It's one of the few things we do that can change the entire rhythm of the body with nothing but awareness. I never imagined that healing could be this quiet, this gentle, and this close at hand. And if you think your breath can shift your health so dramatically, imagine what a simple daily walk can do, not just for your body, but for your entire sense of purpose. That, my friend, is where we go next. If you're still watching and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 1 below to let me know you're here. Now let's keep going with point number 4. 4. Walking as medicine. The 15-minute ritual that restored my strength, my spirit, and my sense of time. There was a time, years ago, when I believed walking was just a means to get somewhere. It wasn't exercise. It wasn't important. It was something I did to move between places. But then I turned 65 and things began to change. I started feeling heavy, not just in the body, but in the heart. My legs ached more often. My thoughts seemed more tangled. And the days, though long, started to feel smaller, like I was shrinking into the hours instead of expanding through them. That's when I returned to something so simple, it almost felt foolish. I started walking, but not in a gym, not with headphones. I walked outside alone with nothing but the sound of my feet, the rhythm of my breath, and the presence of the world around me. At first, it was just 5 minutes. 1 loop around the block. My knees creaked, my back resisted, but I kept going. Day by day, 5 minutes turned into 10. 10 turned into 15. I wasn't walking to burn calories. I wasn't chasing youth. I was reclaiming something I had lost without realizing it. My sense of connection to my own body, my place in the world, and my right to move through it with dignity. Over time, I noticed something incredible. My posture improved. I no longer shuffled. I stepped. My digestion started working better. My mind became clearer. The worries that once felt like shadows lifting up behind me began to fade in the sunlight of those morning walks. I was no longer just aging, I was awakening. People underestimate walking. They think if it's not intense, it's not effective. But I've learned that for seniors, the most powerful form of movement is the kind that honors the body instead of exhausting it. When you walk with attention, feeling your breath move in and out, letting your arms swing gently by your sides, placing each foot with care, you're not just moving muscles. You're resetting your nervous system. You're circulating lymph. You're sending oxygen to your brain. You're telling your entire being, I'm here and I'm not done yet. Science has finally caught up with what elders have known for centuries. A study from the British Journal of Sports Medicine found that just 20 minutes of walking a day can significantly reduce inflammatory markers in older adults. Another from Stanford showed that walking outdoors boosts creative thinking and cognitive clarity far more than sitting still indoors. But beyond all the research, I know this much. After my walk, I feel like myself again. Rain or shine, I never skip it. Not because I'm strict, but because I've seen what happens when I do. I become sluggish. My thoughts feel thick. My energy dips. But after my walk, I feel renewed, like I've turned a key in some hidden part of myself. And I always smile as I go, not because I'm already happy, but because smiling while walking makes me feel happy. That one act alone helps lower blood pressure and soothe the vagus nerve, the silent conductor of so much of our health. So if you've been feeling stuck, physically, emotionally, or mentally, don't wait for perfect conditions. Don't wait for energy to arrive. Open the door, put one foot forward, and let your body remember that it was built to move. And once it does, you'll need to fuel it the right way, because what you put on your plate the moment you return from that walk may be the most important choice you make all day. 5. The hand opening ritual. Small, silent movements that keep you independent and alive. There's a moment in aging that no one prepares you for. Not when your knees ache, not when your hearing fades, but when your hands stop obeying. You reach for a jar and your grip fails. You write a check and your pen trembles. You try to button a shirt and suddenly something as simple as getting dressed becomes a task. That moment is quiet, but it carries a heavy truth. Our hands, once tools of strength and precision, are often the first to whisper, "You're slowing down." I remember when I first noticed it. I was 74. I had dropped my keys 3 times in a week, once nearly locking myself out of the house. I brushed it off at first. Clumsy today, I told myself. But deep down, I knew better. It wasn't about coordination, it was about connection. My hands and my brain weren't in sync like they once were. So I started something so small, so simple, that most people would laugh if they saw it. Every morning before I even pick up a spoon or a toothbrush, I open my hands as wide as I can, stretching each finger like rays of light. Then I close them slowly into a full, strong fist. I hold it for 5 seconds, then release. 10 times. That's it. No weights, no tools, just attention and intention. At first, it felt almost ridiculous. Could such a tiny movement really make a difference? But by week 2, I could feel a warmth returning to my fingers, a flow of blood that hadn't been there before. My ring stopped feeling tight. My hands didn't cramp while writing. I could carry groceries without fear of dropping a bag. But more than that, I began to feel capable again. Our hands are more than limbs. They are extensions of our autonomy. They feed us, clean us, protect us. They hold the hands of loved ones. They create, express, and connect. And when they start to weaken, it's not just about function, it's about identity. That's why I never take them for granted again. There's research to affirm this too. A study published in the Journal of Aging and Physical Activity found that hand strengthening movements significantly reduced arthritis pain, improved grip stability, and even enhanced neurological communication in older adults. In fact, grip strength has now been identified as a strong predictor of longevity and overall vitality. But even without the data, I can tell you, my hands are my lifelines, and keeping them strong is a sacred daily ritual. It doesn't take much, just presence. Just 5 minutes of your morning to remind your fingers that they still matter. It's a quiet kind of strength, this exercise, easy to dismiss, yet essential for independence. And in those silent, repetitive motions, there is a kind of devotion, a respect for the body, a decision not to let age steal your agency. I still do it every day. Not because I'm afraid of losing control, but because I choose to keep it. Because strength doesn't always roar. Sometimes it whispers, "You still have time." And if you followed me this far, through the breath, the walk, the chair, the spine, and now the hands, then you may be wondering, what could possibly be left? What's the one thing I do at night, after all these habits, that lets my body repair, renew, and perhaps even reverse the aging clock while I sleep? That secret, my friend, is what I'll share next. Conclusion: the quiet power of small things. Looking back over more than 9 decades of life, I've come to understand something that I wish someone had told me when I was younger. Aging isn't the end of health. It's the beginning of a different kind of strength. A strength that doesn't rely on youth or speed, but on consistency, attention, and kindness toward your own body. These 5 exercises I've shared with you, the spinal awakening, the magic chair routine, the 4-7-8 breath, the healing walk, and the morning mental tuning, aren't flashy. They won't make headlines or win medals, but they've given me something far more valuable than applause: independence, peace of mind, and a body I can still rely on. Here's the truth most people don't want to admit. Health after 60 doesn't come from doing more. It comes from doing less, but doing it with intention. You don't have to train like an athlete or eat like a monk. What matters most is what you do every single day, even if it's just for a few minutes. Health isn't built in a burst. It's restored in quiet repetition. If you're reading this and wondering if it's too late, let me gently remind you, if you're still breathing, it's not too late, not even close. Every breath is a beginning. Every morning is an invitation. I didn't start these habits in my youth. I started most of them in my 60s, when things were already aching and slowing down. But that's when it matters most. And yes, there will be days when you don't feel like it. Days when the body resists and the mind wanders. That's okay. Do it anyway. Because the real reward isn't just physical, it's emotional, even spiritual. When you care for your body, you're sending it a message it has longed to hear. You are still worth it. I haven't given up on you. That kind of message changes things. It makes you stand taller, breathe deeper, move with dignity. It makes you less afraid of the years ahead, because you're no longer just aging, you're living. So here's my advice from one long life to another. Don't wait for motivation. Don't wait for the perfect plan or the right equipment. Just begin today. Roll your ankles before getting out of bed. Sit tall in your chair and lift your legs with purpose. Breathe with rhythm. Walk with presence. Picture the kind of day and the kind of self you want to grow into. And remember,
Every single act of care you give your body is an act of defiance against decline. You are not a victim of age. You are the keeper of your own vitality. So take the next step. Begin again tomorrow. And know this, you're not just adding years to your life, you're adding life to your years. These lessons are meant to inspire you to live fully and authentically. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Take a moment to reflect and share one thing you've learned and plan to apply in your own life. Let's support each other on this journey toward embracing these truths. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a comment with WA1. If not, feel free to comment with FA0. Your feedback means a lot to us. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more content like this. Thank you for watching, and here's to living life on your own terms.